Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, I've got Alan Blake with me today, founder of Tax Titans. I'm very excited to have you on the podcast, Alan. I appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate you having me, Tyson.
Absolutely, man. So let's dive right in. Maybe you can start by just telling me a little bit about Tax Titans, like, what you guys do, what your day-to-day looks like. As we talked about previously, I noticed your title at the company is Chief Disruptive Officer, which I really love. So I would love to just learn a little bit more about what the day-to-day looks like for you and kind of a little bit more about what you guys do.
Sure. So Tax Titans is literally bringing the tech that everybody is used to using on a daily basis with Uber or Airbnb or Amazon or eBay that they use in their everyday lives and kind of bringing it to the accounting profession. One of the things that I discovered about 3 years ago, I'm a recovering accountant, got my degree a long time ago when dinosaurs roamed the earth, but had a friend who had a practice and realized that, as an example, there is no easy way for you as a taxpayer to go find a vetted and qualified tax professional to do your taxes. Didn't understand that the accounting profession has a crisis of a talent shortage of people not going into the profession. The industry is upside down by about 30%, which then is the other problem is 75% of the CPAs in the United States have been trying to retire for the last 10 years and they just can't find buyers. So at no other time is the U.S. industry economy had more small businesses started, kind of like you with your podcast or anybody with a side hustle, anybody doing Uber Eats or anything like that. So you have this need for people that make 10, 20, 50, $100,000 with their, small business, and they want to keep that money. So instead of giving it all to the IRS, they're like, okay, I'll find an accountant that can show me what legal expenses I can take. Absolutely. And then I only have to pay a certain amount of money. So that was the first thing that we created was this marketplace that, created, the ability for a taxpayer to find an accountant and for them to work together.
Nice.
If COVID showed us anything is you don't have to actually sit in front of your accountant anymore. I could be in Arizona and working with an accountant in Greenville. Transfer all my information, e-file my return, voila. The other thing that we discovered, which we're launching this year, is the fact that there are over 150,000 small accounting firms in the United States.
Wow.
They make up 70 to 80% of the entire industry, and they're all siloed. One accounting firm doesn't work with another accounting firm. I come from a staffing and recruiting industry. Whereas if I had a great candidate, but I didn't have a client, I would contact another recruiter. And if they had a client that was looking for it, we'd split the fee. But if I'm an accountant and I've got too many clients and I would like to get rid of some of them, I have no way to contact another accountant in my own city, let alone anywhere in the United States, to go, hey, I got some clients that I'd like to offboard, get rid of, fire. Could you take care of them? Which creates, the issue for anybody who's working for a large or regional accounting firm. If they want to go start their own business, hang their own shingle, their biggest question is where am I getting my first 100 to 1,000 clients?
Right.
And this, Tax Titans, that's what we're facilitating. Clients need to be serviced. The paying your taxes is not optional in the United States. President Trump hasn't abolished the IRS yet. So from that aspect, especially small businesses, you've got to have an accountant.
Yep.
So that's kind of what we are facilitating. And that literally gets rid of the old way of doing things. I mean, if you talk to anybody and go, how did you find your accountant? They go, well, I asked so-and-so on the golf course or somebody at church or somebody in my PTA. Who do you use?
Right.
And, and then I tell people, they're like, well, is your firm really needed? And I go, okay, if you found out your accountant died tomorrow,
right,
how are you going to find your next one? And they go, oh my God, you're right.
Right.
So
1,000%. Yeah, no, I appreciate you giving us some insight into kind of how that all got started. And it's funny, you mentioned most people find their accountant from like playing golf with one of their business partners or with other people that they talk to. And that's actually exactly how I found my accountant. And you're right. If something happened to that accountant, I wouldn't really know where to go. I didn't know where to go in the first place. I'm glad that I was able to get a referral, but yeah, I mean, if I had to do it over again, I really wouldn't know where to go. So if I'm, somebody looking for an accountant, or, I'm an accountant looking to offload, like, clients that I can't work with, where would I go? Do you guys have like a website? Is it Tax Titans? Is it like an application, or is it more of like,
It's a web-based system. It's tax-titans.com. I gotta have
perfect,
the dash in between.
perfect.
And for small business owners and taxpayers, the service is free. I
Mm,
mean, they can get 8, 9 quotes. They can choose to use the accountant that gives them a quote. They can choose not to.
nice.
We've heard about people getting great prices and transparency and then beating up their regular accountant and going, look, you're charging me too much. I got 9 other people that are willing to do it for $100 less.
Nice.
And then, we're running up into the aspect that there's over 2,000 accounting firms that, like I said, can't find buyers.
Yeah.
So now they're like, wait, I could literally take care of all my clients because I live in the same town with all these people.
Uh-huh.
And I don't want them showing up at my doorstep at 4 o'clock in the morning with pitchforks saying, oh my God, what do you mean you're closing your business?
Right.
They can do a soft landing handoff to another accounting firm, and then instead of paying $50,000 to have a broker find them a buyer,
Mm.
they can literally do the transaction peer to peer, one accounting firm directly to another accounting firm.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. And when you say a buyer, are you talking about like, accounting, like small business accounting firms that are looking to eventually sell their
Yep.
business essentially? Okay.
Yep. Usually, you in the United States, you usually have a firm that's either a solo CPA or maybe they've got like 4 or 5 people working for them, and
Nice.
that literally makes up 70% of the industry, which kind of
Wow.
blew my mind.
Right.
Everybody knows about the big four, and then they have what's called the G400, which are like the top 400 big regional accounting firms in the United
Mm.
States. But the vast majority, excuse me, is literally all the mom and pops that are out there.
Okay. I gotcha. And yeah, that's so interesting. And for me, I come from more of like a marketing background. So I have a marketing firm, and the whole reason I started this podcast was to get insights into like how are you getting in contact with these, small business accounting firms? Like, do you have any kind of system, or how do they know that you guys exist and that you're different from maybe some of your competitors?
So for us, we do a lot of with the state and national organizations.
Oh well.
Yeah, accounting is one of those few industries where there's not a lot of what I would call marketing ad spend
Mm,
because there's so many people that need the services. Literally, accountants are turning away people saying, I'm not taking any more clients.
wow.
So from that aspect, for them, us reaching out, it's like, okay, we understand you're not taking any new clients. Would you like to get rid of some of your pain in the ass clients? And they're like, oh, yes. How do I do that? And we're like, okay, well, your people that you don't like
Uh,
may be somebody that somebody else wants to take on.
yeah.
There's somebody building a book of business. So,
Okay. Yeah. Maybe somebody just getting started. Yeah. They're willing to just kind of get all of that different experience. And another question I wanted to ask you is like, what are some goals that you have for, Tax Titans in the next 12 months related to like revenue growth, would you say?
So for us, it's not so much revenue growth as number of firms on the platform. So
Okay.
for the next 12 months, our goal by the end of 2025 is to have 1,000 firms basically swapping, buying, selling clients with one another. And of those, we want to have 5 of what are called the very large G400 firms that have millions of dollars worth of business that they would like to get rid of, but there's no way for them to connect with regional or local or even national firms to be
Mm,
able to do that. There's a lot of small firms that would love to be able to take that work,
uh,
but the accounting firm has no easy way to transfer clients' files, their past tax returns, and financial information that is compliant with the IRS. So our platform does that, so people aren't worried about, oh my God, my identity got stolen, or my financial information is in the interwebs, and
right.
anybody can grab it. So.
Okay. No, that's definitely awesome. And so for you, like what I guess what does your day-to-day role look like at the company as a chief disruptive officer? Are you looking to reach out to more of these accounting firms yourself? Are you
Yes.
doing like
So
deferrals or?
our biggest thing is kind of education.
Okay.
First of all, with the accounting firm owners to let them know, hey, the definition of insanity is, they go through working 80, 90 hours during tax season. They bitch and complain about it for a month.
Right.
And then they take a month off. And then they're like, okay, I need to get rid of some of these clients. I have too many that I don't want to keep anymore.
Hmm.
And then they don't send them the emails. They don't send them the, disengagement letter. And then next year, it's the same thing all over again. And
Ah,
we're like, okay, stop. Sign up. You can upload these clients, offload them to other people that are looking to start a business.
right.
Doesn't matter where they are in the United States. You're all passing the same CPA exam. You're all passing the same enrolled agents exam. You know,
Gotcha.
it, we're one of the few industries that's self-regulated in the United States, and everybody has to pass all the same work.
Mm,
So it's not like it's interpretive. It's not interpretive accounting.
mm.
It's everybody's got to do it the same way. Everybody's got the same books, so
Huh.
everybody's filling out all the same tax forms. It's different from state to state, but all the federal returns are all the same.
Awesome. That
And so,
makes,
I mean, for us, it's to get back to your question, it's in the morning. It's like, okay, how many people are we going to reach out to today? Onboarding accounting firms so they get used to the system because it is literally something they've never experienced before.
gotcha.
And then for us, it's then making headway into the governing bodies, whether they be state or national, to have them kind of carry the torch and go, yes, our members have been complaining about this for decades. We need to be the champion saying, hey, we can change things. We can make it better. We
Nice.
can make people want to get into the accounting profession. We can make it so that people don't, you know, stay away and go, oh my dear God, I don't want to work. You talk to anybody that's a millennial and say, okay, you're going to work 80 hours a week for the first 5 years. They're like, no, no, thank you.
Right. 100%. Yeah, no, that's definitely interesting. And I could see how there might be a little bit of a learning curve at first for you to educate some of those firms to kind of understand like how to get out of their situation. And if I'm somebody who's an accounting firm or I own an accounting business, where would be the best place to connect with you? Like where do you prefer people to connect with you via email, social media?
Email. There's the Tax Titans LinkedIn group. I'm a avid person on LinkedIn. I'm reachable by email. It's Blake at tax-titans.com. I joke around, carrier pigeon, spoke signal, all I
Yeah.
gotta do is reach out and we have a small team of, four of us that are basically answering stuff for folks.
Nice.
But I have a huge leadership team that are literally the who's who in the accounting world,
Wow.
that are really backing the technology and what we're solving because they have been in this industry for decades watching these problems and nobody has come up with these solutions.
Right.
Nothing against the Intuit and TurboTax and the H&R Block and the Jackson Hewitts of the world, but the more that it's screwed up and the more that people are leaving the industry, the more money they make.
Right.
So nobody's trying to rescue the accounting profession like we are.
That's awesome too. And I love that you mentioned the size of your team. Like for me, if I'm an accounting firm that maybe wants to use your guys' solution, at least they can work directly with the source. Like you guys aren't just passing them on to another different team. They get kind of like specialized help from you guys. So I'll make sure that I include all of your information, maybe like your email, your guys' website, and the description of this video. But Alan, I definitely, I really appreciate you coming on to my podcast here. I wanted to dive a little bit more into your business, but for time's sake, I don't want to run out of time. But I just wanted to tell you thank you again, and it was a great time, interviewing with you.
All right, I appreciate it, sir.
Yep, thanks, Alan.
Okay.